turn that. Right, there we go. This net runs every Sunday from 1900, usually for an hour, but definitely a lot shorter when we don't have many people or a particular subject that needs to be covered. The net is designed specifically for radio amateurs with an interest in emergency communications, but the net is open to every single radio amateur. And of course, you do not need to be a member of any club, any body, entity, party, or otherwise to join the net. The only thing that is required of you naturally is to pay up your ECRN license fee. It's the only thing that's needed. And then, of course, because we've got a whole lot of other people interested, they do tend to come up on Zoom from time to time. So Zoom is also open and available for both non-amateurs and radio amateurs. So having said that, let's just do a quick round. Pierre, I'll give it to you. You give it to Adrian, and you give it back to me from ZS6OPS.
Hi, good evening, guys. Adrian said, anything on my side so far? Nice weather for the state, like you say, said. We'll know what the next line is going to be done. That's all from my side for now. Then it's 6 and wire from then it's 6 and
All right, good stuff there, Adrian, and of course, Pierre. Let's kick off straight away. First thing that I want to cover is, of course, COVID-19. Look, the South African figures are definitely all over the show, but very low in relation to where things were a year ago. The testing rate also is not too bad considering. I mean, we're averaging about 40,000 cases being tested during a 24-hour period. Death toll has all been below 100. It's actually, I haven't seen it anything about 50 in the last 7 days. The number of cases is between 1 and almost 6,000. So it's been up and down, positivity rate between 10 and about 20%. So on South Africa's side, yep, that's where we stand. However, worldwide, globally, it's a totally different picture. India in particular is taking a major knock. They got extremely high numbers again. And it appears that New Zealand, one of the travelers has come in who has tested positive and has been in contact with up to 100 people. And now, of course, New Zealand, and this was announced in the last couple of hours, New Zealand has gone into virtually a complete shutdown and lockdown, and I don't know what else they've done in terms of this. Needless to say that the Prime Minister, who was due to be wed in the next couple of days, has postponed the wedding. So yeah, that there seems to be quite a bit of a problem. And then worldwide, as I said, no man, the figures are actually crazy. We're up another 23 million. They are paused for a reason. For the better part of 2 years, we've been looking at 5 million a week, 6 million a week, and now there's 23 million cases that are testing positive. Personally, I attribute this to the home test kits, which I think have been rolled out throughout Europe in particular. Many of the European countries have made the home test kits available. And of course, once you've taken the test, I think that information is uploaded on an app. so that the the health authorities know who's got it, who has tested positive, and of course this will become one of the statistics, and this could be accounting. Let me clear the timeout timer. This could, ZD6 IPS returning, this could account for the higher number of cases, specifically 23 million in the last week again. Death toll globally, we haven't gone up all that much. Last week we were 5.5 million, or 5,537,000. This week we 5,593,000. So the death toll definitely has sort of stabilized. Perhaps the vaccinations are in actual fact reducing the number of hospitalizations, reducing the number of ventilations or patients needing ventilation, and could very well be contributing to the lower death toll. So that's, again, these are personal remarks, it's personal opinion. The World Health, many of the government's health departments have stipulated more or less the same thing right across the board, still calling for social or physical, in their case they call it social, but physical distancing, wearing a mask, sanitation, washing hands, that type of thing. There's still no official mention of moving this over to an endemic from a pandemic, and of course many of the countries are still in one form or another of lockdown, or under various regulations restricting movements, state of emergency, state of disaster, and whatever they call it in their own particular countries. And then when we look at a country like Tonga, for example, this now becomes a major issue, especially with regards to what happened 70 odd kilometers northeast of Tonga, where there was an underground volcano. This I put out on the groups, and of course not much has been said about it across the board, except to say that the underground volcano was a massive volcanic eruption. It was captured from space. Basically it looked like a nuclear bomb had gone off, and of course Tonga had taken the brunt of it. They've suffered some loss of life, etc. But the big thing that actually came out as a result of this, the entire United States west coast was put on high alert, tsunami alert, even though no evacuations, etc., were in actual fact ordered. People were asked, let's clear the TOT. Okay, ZD6 IPS returning. People were asked to stay off the beaches and away from the coastline as best possible, just in case there were any sort of kickback, or if there was any kickback to the volcano. Not so much on the tsunami side, but of course the undercurrent that could pull people, back into the sea, and that is one of the dangerous situations of that backwash that takes people out. So now Tonga is sitting with a problem where they need assistance. They only got about 100,000 people on the island. They need assistance, and the two closest sort of countries that are capable of assisting is New Zealand and Australia. So I brought this in following COVID, and to tie up exactly what was going on up until this point, after 2 years of COVID pandemic, global, Tonga has had one reported case of COVID and nothing else. And of course now, being in need of outside assistance, Tonga is at high risk of contracting Omicron because of the fact that the people that might pitch up on the island to help could in actual fact be infected, could in actual fact be asymptomatic, and then could in actual fact infect the entire island. So they could go from 1 to 100,000 in 0 to 7 seconds or something along those lines, like a racing car. Where's Rory now? So yeah, this is where I've said it before, guys. We must never lose sight of the fact that a disaster can occur at any given time, and you can get a disaster within a disaster, which becomes another disaster of its own accord as a result of the previous disaster, leading into further disasters, which could lead into even more disasters, like we've just seen this week now with Tonga. So we'll have to monitor that one and see what actually happens. And outside of that, as everybody, or as most people might be aware, with all the sluice gates being opened up on the Vaal, of course, water's now flowing down. It's flowing down to all various other dams. And I'll just pull up the image and tell you exactly which one of the dams is fed by the Vaal. And as a result of that, it all sort of ends up in the Bloemhof, and Bloemhof is that to open up their sluice gates because they're all over 100%, somewhere in the region of about 110. All right, ZS6 OPS returning. So, of course, the Vaal has been fed by Sturtfontein, Woodstock, Grootbraai, the Kotze Dam, and Mogale Dam feeding the Kotze Dam. And of course, everything from the Vaal flows down into the Bloemhof Dam. So the Bloemhof opened up various sluice gates, issued evacuation orders almost immediately following the 1998, was it 1998? And 2011 flooding downstream. So they ordered evacuations, and within 24 hours opening those sluice gates, 65 properties were already underwater, houses basically destroyed. It was estimated within the first 12 hours of flooding to be over 100 million rands worth of damages that had been incurred at that point. So yeah, a bit of reprieve on the rain in the last couple of days, I think definitely is going to help. Hopefully the rainy season will start slowing down now, and we don't continue to dump more water into the Vaal, because of naturally then, the Vaal River's potential for flooding areas again. And of course the Bloemhof Dam, if they release too much water, as we saw previously, Christiana, Wolmerandstad, and all those surrounding areas are definitely going to go out. Okay, so that's basically it from my side. Nothing else to report. We'll have to wait and see what happens over the next week and see what else actually comes up. And yeah, it's going to be interesting, I think, moving forward. Of course, KZN also, believe it or not, various areas of was it Ladysmith were also affected by rising waters and flooding and all the rest of it. And many of the schools were affected, and many school children now haven't been able to sort of get to school, go to school. And of course, now that becomes another political nightmare, because it's the next generation are not being educated. I mean, educated. Let me just correct that the right way. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Adrian, Pierre, if you got something. Adrian says, no, Pierre, if you got something, quickly give me your call sign, and I'll call you in ZS6 OPS. Okay, nothing else heard there from here. Let's hear if there's any other late check-ins. Please go ahead now. ZS6 OPS standing by. Okay, nothing else heard on that side. Guys, ladies, gentlemen, others, and all the rest of it, we got to remember that certain communities now contain all 26 letters of the alphabet. So for those that might be listening to the recording outside of amateur radio, and in particular over Zoom, I've got to be politically correct and include, make sure everybody is inclusive, otherwise I might get into trouble again. So on that note, thank you very much for joining the net this evening. Thank you very much for listening to the net this evening. I hope I didn't disappoint you by not having anything controversial to say. I hope that you are able to rewind your tape decks and all the rest of it, but keep them dusted, keep them clean. Next week, you never know, I might bring something else up and yet again. So having said that, COVID-19, definitely physically distance yourself, meet family, friends, girlfriends, lovers, and all the rest of it on the outside. Try not to do anything inside of the house. Behave yourself, that's for sure. Sanitize, wash your hands, and wear a mask when you are in public. Be safe, be prepared, and of course, be happy. Z6 OPS releasing. That's Old Pot's. Oh, no, that's not Old Pot's daughter. It's Old Papa Smurf. Z6 OPS releasing 145.625 for general use. Cheers. Oh, yeah, there we go. Anyway, I think I've found a bit of a solution for my house cleaning situation. But it's not going to be a cheap solution. I bought one of these $300 mops and the buckets, you know, something I don't have to bend down and wring out and all that. And I discovered, you know what, okay, look, maybe for maintenance purposes, you know, the accidental spill here, there, and all the rest of it, it'll work.
Hallo Adriaan, ja, ik heb het gehoord van je bereiken. Dan een beetje weer op het stadion, een beetje daar, dat is al dit niet goed. Dit nog je het af. Dit is